Hi everyone! Welcome again to my channel. Today, ang ituturo ko sa inyo ay tungkol sa isa sa mga lesson or Module 3 ng English 7 Quarter 1 para sa mga Grade 7 Junior High School. And this is about active and passive voice. But before that, if you are new in this channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, click the notification bell in order to be updated, and of course, please share also. Now let us proceed to this lesson. When we say voice, it is the form of a verb that indicates the relation of the subject to the verb in a sentence. And we have two kinds of voice, active voice and passive voice. By the way, again, ito ay para sa mga grade 7 students. And this lesson is also applicable for other year level, grade 8, 9, and 10, and also for college students. Now, as I've said, we have two kinds of voice. We have active voice and passive voice. In the active voice, the subject performs the action expressed by the verb. Example, Giselle sings a song. Now here, Giselle is the subject, and then sings is a verb, and song is our direct object. Now, direct object here is very important because this will determine if the action verb has an object. Kasi itong direct object, ang object ng verb na sings. By the way, to find the direct object, we need to ask the question what? Giselle sings what? The answer is direct object. The answer is song. So, song is our direct object. By the way, it is not only question what, but also who. Okay. Now, in this sentence, Giselle sings nervously. Here, Giselle is our subject. Sings is a verb, but we have no direct object. Kasi if we are going to ask the question, Giselle sings what? There is no answer. Nervously is not a direct object because nervously is an adverb which modifies the verb sing. So this is not a direct object. So, itong dalawang ito, pareho silang active voice. But, this one, only this one, can be transformed or converted into passive voice. Kasi siya ay action verb, gumamit ng action verb na merong direct object. But this one, this is also in active voice, but there is no direct object. Kasi if you are going to ask the question what, Giselle sings what, there is no answer. So, since there is no direct object, we cannot transform this into a passive voice. Only sentence with the action verb and with the direct object can be converted into passive voice. Okay. Now, example of active voice. James finished the work. All right, here, James is our subject. Finish is the verb. This is an action verb. And homework is a direct object. Again, to find the direct object, we need to ask the question what? James finished what? The answer is homework. So homework is the object. By the way, what kind of object? It is a direct object. Kasi we have different kinds of object. We have direct object and indirect object. Okay. Next, the puppy chewed the shoe. Now in this example, our subject is puppy. And our action verb is chewed. The puppy chewed what? The answer is shoe, so shoe is our direct object. These two sentences can be transformed into passive voice kasi both sentences have direct object. Okay, now, in the passive voice, the subject receives the action expressed by the verb. Say, for example, the homework was finished by James. Okay. if we are going to analyze the sentence, homework is our subject. Was finished is a verb phrase. And then by is a preposition followed with James, which is our doer of the action. Okay. So, in other words, homework here is our subject, but the doer of the action is here in the last part of the sentence, which is James. And James is preceded by the preposition by. Palaging gumagamit ng by kapag ang isusunod natin ay yung doer of the action. So magkapartner ito, preposition plus doer of the action. Now, difference between active and passive voice. In this sentence, James finished the homework. All right, this is under active voice. Okay, now James here is our subject. And this subject is the doer of the action. Kasi siya ang gumawa eh. Siya ang nag-finish ng homework. So, James is the doer of the action. And James is also the subject. Alright. Now, finish here is our action verb. And homework is our object. But what kind of object? It is a direct object. Because it answers the question what? If you are going to ask the question what, James finished what? The answer, of course, is homework. So, homework is our direct object. Okay. Now, here is an example of another example. If we are going to transform this to passive voice, kasi active voice ito eh. It's going to be like this. The homework was finished by James. Now, homework now is our subject. And this is now the receiver of the action. Here, in the active voice, homework is our object or direct object. The doer of the action is James. But here, in the passive voice, homework now is the receiver of the action. And was, alright, take note of this, was is a helping verb. What kind of helping verb? It is a helping verb that is called be. Marami itong form ng be. Yung mga is, are, was, were. Yan. Yan tinatawag natin na verb be. And then, was here is followed with finished, which is our past participle. By the way, finished here is not functioning. Rather, this is a past participle of the verb finish. Ang past participle ng finish and past tense has the same form. Pareho ang kanilang spelling. But the function here of finish is not a past tense, but past participle. Alright. And then we have here, by is the preposition used to introduce the doer of the action, James. Okay. Magka-partner palagi ito. Itong preposition na by, followed with the doer of the action, which is James. Okay. Now, in this sentence, James wrote a letter. This is under active voice. And James here is our subject. And our action verb is wrote, followed with the direct object, which is letter. Again, letter is a direct object because it answers the question what? James wrote what? The answer is a letter. Okay. So, we can transform this into a passive voice because there is a direct object. Again, remember, we cannot transform a sentence into a passive voice if there is no direct object. Remember that. Okay. Now here, to transform this to passive voice, it's going to be like this. Letter is our subject. Was is our helping verb be. Okay. Was is written here, used here, kasi itong ating sa active voice, ang ginamit ay past tense, now wrote. This is the past tense of the verb write. So since this is past tense, the appropriate helping verb here is was, kasi the subject is singular. And it happened in the past, so the helping verb appropriate here is was. We cannot use were. Kasi were is used for plural subject and second person. Now, again, we cannot use is. Dito, hindi tayo pwedeng gumamit ng is. Kasi the original sentence is written in the past tense. Wrote, nakalagay dito. Kung ito ay write, James writes a letter, then dito, itong was ay magiging is. Kasi present tense dito. But since this is written in the past tense, so we are going to use the past tense of is, which is was. Yan ang past tense, past form ng be. Again, yung verb na be ay yung mga verb na helping, verb na is, was, is, are, was, and were. And then, was here is followed by the action verb written. Now, written here is not a past tense, but this is a past participle. Remember that in transforming a sentence from active to passive, you are going to always use the past participle, not the past tense. Hindi pwedeng a letter was wrote by James. No, it is not. It should be past participle. So, it's going to be written. A letter was written by James. Now, it is followed with the preposition by. And then, James is the doer of the action. So, magkapartner itong dalawang ito. If you want to indicate who did the action, then you are going to use the preposition by, followed with the doer of the action, James. Okay. Now, how about this one? James wrote silently. James wrote what? There is no answer, so there is no direct object. Kasi walang sagot sa question of what. Now note, this sentence cannot be converted, just like what I've said. You cannot convert this into passive voice. Kasi there is no direct object. Now, like this one, James is happy. We have a subject, James. Is a linking verb. Now remember, is not an action verb, but here it is used as a linking verb. Pag sinabing linking verb, the only use of the verb here is just to link or to connect the subject to the predicate. Pandugtong lang siya dito. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay linking verb. And happy is not a direct object because happy is not a noun. By the way, you should be aware, you should take note, that a direct object should always be either a noun or pronoun. You cannot use other part of speech other than noun or pronoun. Palaging noun or pronoun ang direct object. But in this case, this is not a direct object. Although it answers the question what? James is what? Pwede mong sabihin happy. But happy is not a direct object because it is not a noun. Happy is a predicate adjective. Okay. Because it modifies the noun James. Now, note, this sentence cannot be categorized as active or passive. Hindi mo pwedeng siya sabihin na active siya or passive. Kasi the verb used is a linking verb. Ito, linking verb ang ginamit. This is not an action verb. You can categorize only a sentence if it is active or passive if the verb used is an action verb. Yun lang. Pwede mo siyang sabihin na active or passive kung ang ginamit na verb ay action verb. Pero kung ang ginamit ay linking verb, hindi mo pwede siyang categorize, sabihin na active or passive. Okay. Now, this sentence cannot be converted into passive because the verb used is linking verb. Yan. And there is no direct object. Only action verb with a direct object can be transformed into passive voice. Alright. Now, these are the steps how to convert active to passive voice. By the way, at the end of this lesson, I am going to give a short quiz in order to determine if you have learned in this video. Okay. Number one step, use the direct object as the subject in a sentence. Say, for example, we have here an active voice sentence. The cat ate the rat. Now, this is active voice. We have the subject, cat. Ate is our verb. Rat is our direct object. Because it answers the question what? The cat ate what? The answer is rat. So it is a direct object. And we can convert this into passive voice like this. First step, use the direct object as a subject. So our subject is cat. Use the direct object as a subject. Our direct object is rat. So the subject is rat. Okay. And then followed with was. This is our helping verb. Now, was is used here as a helping verb kasi the original sentence used the past tense form. Ate. So was here is the appropriate helping verb. Another reason is the subject is singular. Only one. So we are going to use was. We cannot use were here kasi the subject is only one, singular. Okay. Now, next, use the past participle of the given verb. The given verb here is ate. Now, the past participle of ate is eaten. So, this is the past participle of the verb eat. And then, use the preposition by before the doer of the action. Okay. By muna. The rat was written by the cat. Cat is our doer of the action. Okay. By is our preposition. Cat is our doer of the action. Now, we have now a passive voice converted from the original sentence and the active voice, the cat ate the rat. Okay. Now, we have here an exercise in converting active to passive voice sentences. Number one, I helped him yesterday. Okay, I helped him yesterday. Now, in order to determine if this can be converted into passive, we need to find out, kailangan malaman natin, kung ang help ba na action verb ay may direct object. I help what? Oh, no answer. But if we are going to ask another question, I help who? The answer is him. So, we have a direct object. Okay. He was helped. So, it's going to be like this. He, itong him, kasi, according to our rule, use the direct object as the subject. Ang direct object natin dito ay him kasi siya ang sumasagot sa answer na who. I help who? Him is the answer. But we cannot use him as a subject. Kasi ito ay, ang him ay, this is an objective case pronoun. We cannot use this as a subject. Instead, we are going to transform this into nominative case pronoun. So magiging ang him ay magiging he. Followed with the helping verb was. Ang help ay nasa past tense, so was ang tama dito na helping verb. And then followed with the past participle, help. Ang past tense ng help ay help with ed, and the past participle is the same. Ito rin. So, he was helped. And then, followed with preposition by. And then, the doer of the action. The doer of the action is I. Kaya lang, hindi natin pwedeng gamitin dito ang I. So, instead, we are going to convert this I into me. We are going to use objective case pronoun. So, magiging me. And then, continue the sentence with this word, yesterday. He was helped by me yesterday. Okay. Number 2. He will buy a new shoes tomorrow. This is active. Now to transform this, first we need to ask the question what? He will buy what? The answer is a new shoes. So, a new shoes is our direct object. Dahil ito ang ating direct object, ito rin ang magiging subject natin sa passive voice. So, it's going to be like this. A new shoes will be, ang buy, ang past participle ng buy ay bought. So, will be bought, followed with preposition by, and then yung he, doer of the action, ay magiging him. And then, just copy tomorrow. So, a new shoes will be bought by him tomorrow. Number 3. Lisa answered the question correctly. Now, to find, para malaman natin kung saan ang direct object, of course, we need to ask the question what? Lisa answered what? So, the answer is the question. So, ang the question, ang direct object, ito rin ang magiging subject natin sa passive voice. Okay, so it's going to be like this. The question was, kasi ang sa original sentence answered, nasa past tense ito, so and the subject is singular, gagamit tayo ng was. Was, and then followed with the past participle answered, and then followed with the preposition by, and then followed with the doer of the action, Lisa, and then the other part of the sentence. Okay. Now, let us have a short quiz. Direction, convert the following sentences into passive voice. Okay, number 1, my mother cooked breakfast. Number 2, he helped me yesterday. Number 3, he will prepare food for the visitors. Number 4, the dog chased the cat. Number 5, he writes an interesting story. Alright? Just pause the video for a while, and then we are going, after a few minutes, we are going to check your answer. Alright, let's now check your answer. For number 1, my mother cooked breakfast. The answer is, breakfast was cooked by my mother. Alright, here, my mother cooked what? Breakfast. So breakfast ang magiging subject. Followed with was. Ang subject natin dito ay singular, so dapat ay was. And the verb is past tense, so gagamitin tayo ng past participle, cook. Followed with by, followed with the doer of the action, my mother. Ayan. Okay. Number 2, he helped me yesterday. So here, he helped who? The answer is me. But we cannot use me as a subject. Instead, gagawin natin itong I. So, I. And then, help is past tense. So, we're going to use was kasi nasa past tense siya. At the subject here is singular. So, was ang gagamitin. I was helped, followed with preposition by, and followed with the doer of the action. The doer of the action here is he. So, he should be converted to him. Kasi hindi pwede natin gamitin ang he dito. I was followed by he. That is wrong. It should be objective case pronoun. So gagawin natin objective itong he, magiging him siya. And then just copy yesterday. Number 3, he will prepare food for the visitors. Now, he will prepare what? The answer is food. So, the food is our subject. Followed with will. Now, notice here, this is in the future tense, will prepare. So, the appropriate helping verb here will be. Dagdagan lang ng be itong will. Will be, and then use the past participle of prepare that is prepared. It will be prepared by, followed with the doer of the action, he. Pero gagawin natin itong him. Okay, him. For the visitors. Okay, number 4. The dog chased the cat. Now, we are going to find first the direct object. The dog chased what? The cat. So, the cat is the direct object. Ito rin ang magiging subject natin. So, it's going to be like this. The cat was chased by the dog. Okay. Number 5, he writes an interesting story. He writes what? The answer is an interesting story. So this is our subject. Direct object. At ito rin ang magiging subject natin sa passive voice. An interesting story. Now, writes is in the present tense. Take note of this. Writes is in the present tense. So we are going to use a helping verb that is appropriate for present tense. So hindi tayo pwedeng gumamit dito ng was. Kasi ang was ay para lang sa past tense yan. Ito ay nasa present tense, gagamit din tayo ng present tense. But our subject is he, so dito, ang gagamitin natin ay is. Hindi tayo pwedeng gumamit ng are. Kasi ang subject dito ay singular. Okay, so dito, magiging is, followed with the past participle of writes, which is written, followed with preposition by, and followed with the doer of the action. Ang doer of the action ay he, so ang he ay magiging him. Alright? I hope you've learned something in this video. And by the way, yung iba kong mga video ay ito ay tulong sa mga estudyante dito sa distance learning, particularly sa modular distance learning. By the way, itong lesson na ito ay galing talaga ito sa module. Ito ay isang part lamang sa module pero hindi masyadong naipaliwanag. Okay, I hope you are satisfied with the explanation. Now, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. See you again.